So, Patrick, of all of the things that have been a downer about the Twins this season, I will say this: the Byron Buxton story continues
Yes,
to be great.
amazing.
Going to the All Star game, and I said this; it sounds weird, but it feels like at the age of 31, he is finally fulfilling the potential that we all thought was possible and thought that we would never see.
At 2017, we thought we were seeing it. That's a
Yeah.
long time. That's 8 years ago where you last saw him play like this. It's amazing. I've been telling people that, in my opinion, and it's lost in the shuffle of a mediocre team. This is one of the most phenomenal events in Twins history, as far as something being expected and fantastic. And you just hope that he can make it to the finish line this time. But I've never felt that he was soft in any way. He just, he was a football star. That was, if you're a football star running back in Georgia, you're not soft. You're getting hit a lot by people, and he was just bad things happen, and then migraines and things like that. And the one was, remember the one where he was in Florida, and they were having, for some reason, they were in a series somewhere. They weren't. Was it? They went to Puerto Rico or some damn. Did they go to Puerto Rico for a series or something
Yeah, Cleveland.
with Cleveland?
Yeah.
And he got all. He was off that year. It was only like a week or two into the season, but he was like looking fine and everything was great. And he ended up getting migraines and tried to play and got all screwed up. And but as we've said here quite a few times, when you look back 2 years when they said no, we can't play him in the field, he's done. He's going to have to be a DH, which he couldn't handle at all. What, he hit 215 or something? It was unbelievable.
It was
Struck
awful.
out struck out about 40% of the time, and now he's great. There aren't five better players in the big leagues right now than he is. It's just
No,
phenomenal. The
no.
the I think he's also gotten smarter as a hitter. Right, he's sitting on certain pitches, and he's if you throw him what he's looking for in the second pitch of the game, he's ready to hit it. And how many leadoff home runs now? 4 or 5. It's incredible.
Five this season, and he's
And
now, I
doing
think, tied with Knobloch for the all-time, or for like fourth on the all-time list.
Yeah, and but it has been phenomenal, and his center fielding has been terrific, and he's I can't say I've ever had a good interview with him. It's not a great interview. You don't sit down. He's a nice enough guy. He answers questions. He
Yeah.
tries to do things, but I think we're all happy for him. But he seems like a good enough guy, family man, got a bunch of kids, and that's he does never made any noise about getting out of here or anything. And let's face it, he signed that $100 million contract because he was iffy about his knee too, I think, and because that was if he's 90% healthy, it would have been twice that. It would have been a 200 million.
Oh
He's
yeah.
a $200 million player, and he's still Judd is the fastest. He's 31 now. You think you think in some ways after all the injuries he's still fresh because he's running like a 22-year-old kid. It's amazing. And those strides he makes behind between second and third when he's cranking are just unbelievable. Like 6 steps, and he's from one base to the other. I wonder what his, we hear about workout stuff, but I wonder what his regimen was this winter. Does he, I mean, I wonder how he got
I
back running that physically like he did. He
I think
must.
your point though, now that he is an all-star and has been so damn good, I think your point from about a month ago would be, I think it would be a great story to go back and find out, because it was basically what, 2 years of surgeries, arthroscopic for the first one. It didn't really
Yes.
work great. He couldn't play the outfield, and then they did the plica, PLICA. They
Yeah.
took out
Right.
that flap, which is like over the membrane, and I don't know what it did,
That can't be it. That
but I
can't
would
be
love to
the whole
know.
thing. Yeah, they
Wouldn't you
don't.
love to know? I never
Yes,
even heard of that body
yes.
tissue,
I
whatever
want
the
to
hell it
know.
is.
I want to know who the doctor was in 23 who didn't see the plica.
Yeah,
Who
I
didn't
know.
take it out of there. I don't know. I think there was more to it. He didn't go to Germany or someplace and get that kind of. We don't know. It's a mysterious, but. Somebody to this point fixed the knee. And what I've also appreciated is they didn't use their normal stupid overly cautious crap with him. And they're playing him
Yeah.
and day game after night game and that stuff, and that's the way it should be because the other stuff didn't work. Let him play. He wants to play, and this idea. I mean, I went to St. Paul when remember they sent him to St. Paul to rehab to see if he could play center field again,
Yes. Yes.
and he played 5 innings. They hit one ball to him that I could have caught, and that somehow that's going to test whether he could. That's Don't get me started on rehab assignments either. That is, we got to have, having a Wallner in St. Paul for a week sure worked well, didn't it? He hadn't had a hit since he got back from his rehab
He was
assignment.
great in St. Paul, though, Pat.
Yeah,
Tore it
yeah,
up.
that's unbelievable to me when okay, send a guy over, give him 5 swings, if he, and have him come back tomorrow and play. What? Yeah, I guess I'm old school in that one too because I just can't.
Well,
The
Reusse only
idea.
got 3 games, though. They pulled the plug on his,
Yes,
like, ordinarily that's 5 games, right, or something
yes,
like that. I think they
yes.
gave him 2 or 3 games and said, "Screw it, let's just call him back up."
Yeah, well, and he's got to be thinking, you know, I gotta I gotta beat this. I gotta start playing, or it's I'm gonna be he's gonna be one of the great busts of all time if he doesn't start playing here. It's I do think. Don't you think he looks a little different physically this year? I thought he was way over muscled last year when he came back because he works out. He
Right.
misses a year, so he decides he wants to become a home run hitter. He looks a little less muscled than he does, little more athletic again this year. But
Yeah.
and he's got a couple of hits since he came back. But I think the idea that he's going to be a star is pretty remote.
I'm more concerned about the shortstop
Yes.
because that contract and if you look to and I don't think you're a big fan of the fielding metrics, but I checked this out because I wrote something for my Substack on Friday. The fielding metrics are not good now. Like he is
Compared to what they were
compared to
last
what
year.
they were. Yes, he is
Yeah,
not the same player. And if you watch him, you see it doesn't feel like he's getting to all the balls that he used to. And at the plate, I don't care what the stats say, he looks like he's a mess.
yeah, and a lot of the thing about him is he's just not those. A lot of his thing has been positioning. That he was in the right spot, but he's not. He doesn't range behind second base or stuff like that. So
Right.
I don't know. It was you know There's a reason they came back to you and said, "We'll take that 200 million.
Yes.
Is that still on the table?" And the fellas could have gotten out of it then if they wanted to, but I guess they thought they liked him as a guy. I guess the 1 year they had him, and yeah, I don't know what is he now. 30. He's the same age as Buxton, probably,
Mm-hmm.
right? 31,
Mm-hmm.
31. So, and he's what are they? He got 3 years left after this.
It was I think it was a
3 years.
7 year contract.
Ooh,
So I think it's
7,
I think he's
4 years.
in. Yeah, I think you might be right. Hold on a second. I'll
Yeah.
check it. I'll check it.
And
But
well, this
anyway,
is
that's
he's
a
only
lot of
this
money.
is this his fourth season here? Fourth season here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And one with the new contract. So yeah, it's a lot of money for this franchise, that's for sure. And but we haven't seen much of Boris on coming out to hold his hand or anything. I wonder how that relationship is. But Boris, that's still one of the funniest press conferences in Minnesota sports history when Boris took on the entire orthopedic industry as the reason that Carlos didn't get his 300 million. How happy are the Mets and the Giants that they didn't get stuck with that deal?
Their doctors clearly had an idea of what they were looking at. No, I mean, Boris basically, to your point, said, this is a
No.
joke and whatever. But clearly, and he is, by the way, he is in year 3 of a 6-year contract. The vesting option things, which won't be a
Yeah.
problem, kick in
Yeah.
2029.
Yeah. He's been a disappointment. There's no doubt about it. And it's, I mean, okay, the defensive metrics may not be what they were, but you still like it when they hit a ground ball to him, and it's gonna
Sure.
be a close play at first because he's got a gun. But offense, at the plate, he's just not been what you hoped he was gonna be. And there was he when he came here. There's a very good chance he was going to be a Hall of Famer before he was done, but that's going by the board here, so that's not good. I don't know. They played okay against the Rays, who were having trouble. They got hammered again yesterday. Their pitching's kind of gone to the tank, and but Bader's a pretty good. Bader's been an okay player.
Mhm.
Buxton's been terrific. Larnick's been good. Wallner's been terrible, and Reusse and the one guy most. It's hard to give a most improved to a guy who didn't play many games last year, but Brooks Lee has been a better player than I thought he'd be. And so why has Clemens been playing the last couple 3 days with both Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee healthy? What's that? They played him at first. I guess they want to get a
Yeah.
left-handed bat in instead of France.
Saturday, Brooks Lee didn't start, and Clemens did at second base. Right, that
Yeah,
confused me. Now Clemens is clearly they like his bat, and Ty France isn't that great, so that I guess I get that more. I don't like it, but the Brooks Lee not starting at second base on Saturday, they must have had something between the pitcher and Brooks Lee that they didn't like.
yeah. France is kind of turning. I mean, he's better than he was last year, but
Yeah.
remember, there's a reason they only cost him $1 million.
Yes.
That considering 2 years ago in Seattle, 23 in Seattle, they thought he was going to be a star, but he's again been an okay player. But as I said Sunday, Judd, it was just sad to lose a game when Christian Vasquez actually had a hit. So that was, that doesn't happen very often. He was, I don't know, I don't know how many times he'd batted before he got his hit the other day, but when I was in the car on the radio. Atterbury said he was 1 for 36, so that they hit. So he's like 2 for 38. But A, there's no way they can move him, and B, they don't have any other catchers. They,
No,
I mean, the guy at St. Paul that they were hoping
he's hurt.
for, Camargo was hitting 180, and he's kind of a hack behind the plate. And Christian is ours for the rest of the season until they find themselves
He
another
threw out
catcher.
2 guys. The Rays
Yes,
tried to steal twice, including a fast guy, and he threw
oh,
them both out.
he's okay behind the plate, but God Almighty, and Gladdy was. I was talking to him the other day, and I agree with him. Anytime you can have him bunt to help your situation, have him bunt. Why have him swing away and hit a double play or pop up? Guy at first, nobody out, bunt him to second. Guy at second, bunt him to third. Bunt him. Start bunting him because he's an automatic out.
What's your theory on Wallner?
I don't know. I liked him, I guess, last year, but doesn't he? He had a little. He's got a different kind of swing. He's kind of got to load it up, doesn't he? In the process of, he's got that little hitch, and I he was not a surefire. When they called him up here, it was a little. He was kind of surprising people at how good he was at St. Paul, and he was a pretty good player. But you know, I don't think the idea to start the season with him as a leadoff hitter was the best idea I ever saw in my life. But I think he's, if The one thing, you know what? One thing he's got in his favor: all the guys who are going to take his job are hurt.
Oh.
That that Emmanuel Rodriguez, boy, you should see this guy. Oh wow, they keep telling you about what a prospect this guy. Nobody's ever seen him. He plays once a month. He's by even by Twin standards, he's
He's
incredibly
he's
injured.
the Bigfoot of the Twins organization.
Yes, he is.
Rare
Yeah.
sightings.
Yeah, he had a good week, and he had a good week in Wichita. And they called him up, and he's been in any ailment he can come up with. He has. He Bucks even before this, Buxton was an Iron Man compared to this guy. It's unbelievable how he never, people go to St. Paul, and if you've seen him play in St. Paul, it's like
Well,
finding the Winter Carnival medallion or something.
that's assuming that you can get to St. Paul, which is so damn hard now. I'm not even bothering. So that's a whole
Have
nother.
you read what they're going to do to us in the next 2 months?
Yeah, I read in the strip. Yeah, that's
What are they going to
394.
now? What are they putting a new? What new bridge are they putting in?
It sounds like they're going to reinforce bridges. So I don't know they're going to bring them down, but it sounds like they're going to do a bunch of work that's going to close it, and it's going to be a mess for
And
2
just to
years.
make things good, we're going to keep working on 55 too with the option. So
Everything's closed in the
yes,
West Metro. Everything's
and,
closed.
and by the way, out where you live, if you want to come down by 50th, that bridge is gone. What are they ever going to get that back?
But it's
I
going to
just
take some
there's
time.
there's about three products at Jerry's that I like, so I go over. You need a helicopter to get to Jerry's now, So you get that bridge is what is this? The greatest scam in American politics is the way the in American bureaucracy is the way construction companies pay off highway departments in order to get the what they did at 55 is criminal. Putting that bike lane in is the stupidest thing that's ever been done. They got a bike lane wide enough for a semi, and nobody has ever been seen riding their bike on it. What? Where did the bike lobby get all this? You know, get all this power. I don't get it. There's if you're at Worth Park, there's a bike trail downtown that gets you downtown. We
Well,
don't need a lane on 55, you morons.
do you know who's really screwed though? All of the wild season ticket holders in the
Oh
West
God.
Metro, because 394 and 94 are going to be a complete. Like you're going to have to leave at 4 o'clock.
Yeah. 90 yeah, how long is 94 going to go on?
I don't know, but I
It's
mean that already is a nightmare. And if
yeah.
394 now they're going to clog that up with construction, it's seriously
Yes.
going to take you an hour and a half to get to the
But
X.
yeah, I saw the guy from the highway department recorder. But come on downtown, and you can get there.
That's
You,
that's
you
just
can.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
St.
talking about
Paul.
going from like
Well,
Edina to the X.
Judd, when you when things were functioning, when you could get through the tunnel, if you were driving back at 4:30, and there was a wild game, they were backed up past 100. Then now they're
Yep,
going to be backed up past I-69. You can't,
I know.
that tunnel. It it's too late. That tunnel can't be fixed. What are you going to do? Put
Well,
another? What are
did
you?
you
How, are you going to build over it? What are you going to do?
did you see the quote? That's the
What?
next, like in the next phase of things. It sounds like the tunnel is going to be. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to close her down. And when they do, good luck.
Oh yeah, it's
I might be watching a lot of
yes.
the Wild on
Yeah,
FanDuel this season.
your attendance might be reduced some.
I can't
Well,
take it.
when you know, you just start doing your mornings. Just start doing your stuff from the station. Get up early, and then there's a apartment up there somewhere in the building back there, and you can kind of camp out and then drive to St. Paul after about 4 o'clock in the afternoon if you want to go to the
Get a
game.
place at the St. Paul Hotel like Craig did.
Yes, yes. Portland. I use Portland a lot to go downtown, and I hope the suburbanites don't discover it. That
Then don't talk about it.
when they're 55 and 94 are
Oh God.
it's just unbelievable that they've been fishing 55 out on the further west this summer, and I said there's nothing wrong with it. It was fine. You'd get on it, and the traffic would move. What are we doing? I think it has to be a problem before you start fixing it, right? It's got to be a problem. We don't anticipate problems.
Unless you
Wait
can,
till it's a problem.
unless you can prove bridge problems, which I'm all for fixing,
Yes.
given
Yeah.
what we saw. But when it comes to the actual condition of the roads or widening, I mean,
Yeah.
494 again has been a war zone for how long?
Yes.
And in the last 30 years, when has 494 not had a major construction
Yes.
project?
Yeah. There. that's that's. I got the grandkids in Woodbury. Try to figure out how to get there and back. Now that you can take the circular route if you take 494, except
You know
now
what?
494 doesn't move
FaceTime,
either.
Grandpa.
Yeah, yeah, right.
FaceTime.
That's
How you
right.
kids doing? Great. See you
Yeah,
later.
yeah. See you at Christmas. We'll figure something out. Unbelievable.
Oh
Anyway,
man.
beyond the but all you people coming out, we gotta have. There got to be 32 grand at the Cubs games. These three Cubs games, don't they? The
I
Cubbies.
think the Cubs games will draw
Everybody,
fine. My question is,
everybody.
if we get Skeens, Joe Ryan, and a Buxton bobblehead on Saturday,
Yeah,
what
that could be
what
big.
do we get? Will people still? Phil disagreed. I said I think people will still come out to see Paul Skeens pitch.
Yes.
Phil said I don't know, but I really got to think like we do not get pitching, especially now. It feels like pitching
No.
matchups like that
No.
ever.
He's been great too, Paul Joe Ryan and Skeens. Skeens has got one win in like 13 games, and he's given up. He's got a 195 ERA or something.
It's
And
incredible.
they popped up and they popped up and beat the living bejeebers out of somebody over the last weekend, right? Didn't they win 3 or 4 games and scored 30 some runs? And
Oh, the
it
Mets.
did. It was
The Mets.
weird. Yeah,
They
they
annihilated
hammered
the
the Cubs.
Mets.
You know what? There's some hope for baseball, though. The Dodgers, now they're going to be fine, but they've lost 4 in a row. San Diego's not playing good. And the Yankees have had 2 6-game losing streaks in
Yeah.
the last 2 3 weeks.
It's been a weird year. There have been a lot. I mean, Cleveland has now dropped, unless they played
They
yesterday.
won. They won last
Okay.
yesterday, but they
They had
ten
lost 10
games,
in a row.
10 in a row. Yeah, and
And the Central,
I
by the
don't
way,
what
stinks.
who.
The Central, the AL Central is
Oh,
terrible.
yes, yes, yeah. The other day, I somebody said, I think it was Atterbury. I was talking to him, and they had a 4 day period where they were 1 and 15, and they weren't playing each other, and they were just getting hammered. Kansas City's been a big flop. Detroit 13 and a half ahead. Somebody said to me, "You think it's over?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I think it might be over." 13 and a half. 13 and a half, right,
Oh,
is pretty tough. What do you think they're thinking over there right now? Is it we don't know what's going on with the it's very confusing in Twinsville now. We don't know if anybody we don't know if they know what they're doing in the front office. We we've given them the benefit of the doubt mostly to a degree, but now you look around and you think, how did you get here? And all these prospects that were supposed to be coming, nobody ever shows up. Nobody ever makes. When's the last time we had a prospect show up and go, wow, holy cow, Reusse for 10 minutes,
yeah.
and
When
he
Roy
was
showed up,
20, and
yeah,
he was 26 by then, and I like Larnick. I think Larnick's a good hitter, not a great outfielder, but you know I come from the generation where you put the guy in center field that could catch the ball, and then if you were looking for another place to put the hitters, you put one in left and the other in right, right? Your Cubs back in the day, way back in the day, had I think Gus Bell and Wally Post, and they both would keep their gloves out in the field on the side, and they'd pick up their gloves when they ran back out. They just stand there, It was.
yeah.
I go back to That's that's part of the problem with the is the with hitting in baseball. The balls that get caught in the outfield now are just phenomenal compared to what used to be the case. I saw one the other day that the kid from the Cubs caught it, Armstrong caught it, and caught it easy in left center. And the guy on TV said they had a 10% catch rate on that. Well, which is all nonsense. I mean, they come up with that thing.
Right.
The
Right.
other thing that's and I've been whining about this for a few days is we now excuse a guy for kicking a ground ball if it's hit 100 miles an hour. That was hit 104. They
Errors are hard to come by now. Baseball
oh
doesn't want
man,
them.
no, they don't. And you know, Stu got great ridicule from Gladden and the guys the other day on when Brooks Lee had that horrible game at third base and ended up getting no errors. But you don't know if the scorers know when they see the the speed of the ball being hit that they're going to get a call from the league
Right.
office if they don't call it a hit.
Correct.
Is it that was 104? Well, yeah, it was hit right at you. You're a big league player, but
But I think it's the league. Like I think that they call what should be an error a hit, or they change it because they know that the league either is going to call them or they do call them. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't think that's a score thing. I think that's a mandate.
yeah, I was, back in the days when we filled out the forms and nobody, I mean, people would complain, but there was nobody that could get anything changed except you deciding whether you wanted to change it or not. And and but plus, you know, I'd score a whole weekend. I wouldn't fill out the score sheets until Monday morning, the official score sheets until Monday morning, and mail them in. They got them like a week later. It was
You wouldn't
nobody.
survive long now being the
No,
official scorer.
my method of settling the Soderholm Cusick dispute would not work anymore. I don't care, fellas, who gets the air, but somebody's getting an air. So if you want to flip a coin, that's fine with me.
And you know what though? If you're a pitcher, so
Yes,
I would hate this. If a ball gets hit, and I know it might be hard, but if a ball gets hit to Brooks Lee and he
yes,
boots it, which he did, and that's
and it's
called a hit, that's an earned run if that guy
yes,
scores.
yes, and they call it a double, right? Because he hacked it up so bad. Yeah, it's an earned run, and it
He literally kicked it.
yes, yeah,
Definition of a boot.
it's once in a while they'll say that ball was hit 122 miles an hour out hit into the bullpen, and I'll say, oh boy, that's when I'm interested. But a ground ball, no, I don't care. And they still, I love Probus and his helpers are fine, but when Correa hits into one of his double plays, we still have to hear, well, that ball was hit 104. Yeah, that made it that made it no chance not to be a double play. Because if it's getting to the shortstop that quick,
Yeah.
right at him. I
Well,
mean,
that's the thing that drives me crazy. We can go months and months of a guy underproducing, but spend months and months talking about why his if you look at how hard he hit the ball, he's really he's really
oh yeah.
doing well. He's hitting well. It's like no, he's not.
I wonder if they're still in on him. The club. Uh, I wonder if what they think of him. The front office. They won't tell you, but Rocco and everybody. I wonder. That he really got to me a couple of weeks ago when he said, "Well, I've talked," when they were in the middle of that terrible stretch.
Right.
And I've said this before on here, but when he said, "Well, I've talked to the front office about some of the things we maybe should have," I've talked to the, he didn't call it the front office, but whatever. And boy, I thought that's this is this is not an appropriate time for you to
No.
be saying, "Yeah, I've detected some flaws." The public's down on him too. The fans are down on
Well,
him.
he deserves to be down. I mean, it's been a whole season now.
Yes, and he's making 35. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a
Yes,
nice
which by the way
living.
you could spend in other places if you choose to spend it, but like that contract until this team is sold, you're not going to make moves probably based on his being there because of the fact that he's making 35 million.
Yeah, and boy, that's all quiet on the Western Front on that thing, right?
Yeah, Shooter had a note on Sunday, I guess, about something being in place or there might be an offer made. I don't know, but until something happens, who
There's
knows?
there's, there's some local guy trying to put a group together. That's I don't know that these guys have some money, but I mean, how can you look at this and first of all, if I read the story about 2 years of traffic and nobody could get downtown, that would make me say anymore. I don't want to own this team.
And you got a lockout coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's for sure. And that that has to happen. I still think one of the greatest signs of Manfred's lack of spine is he let the Dodgers get away with the deferred contract on. And I say, well, that's the contract. That's the language. Well, change the language. Call them up
Well,
and say no.
the CBA has to end that. That's the problem with the lockout, I think, is this. You're going to have months of the owners fighting amongst themselves
Yeah, that's true. You're
before
right.
you get to the players, who, by the way, are going to be pissed off.
Yes, but you gotta you gotta win one. I think they have. I think they have power now, though, because I think they can just see. Well, you can look back at what Bettman did, and he changed the league by not
Yep.
having a season.
Yes.
And baseball, certainly, you got guys that you know want to have a season. Giants, they're paying for their own stadium and stuff like that. But you got to get the votes, and you got to figure out something that have some kind of a cap. You know, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be enormous. It's going to be whatever the salary cap ends up being. It's going to be 100 million. That's when the clubs like the Twins and those are going to get heat because spending to the cap is a big thing in all the other sports. So
Sure. Sure.
now all of a sudden the Twins will be trying to explain to us that okay, the salary cap is 220 million, but we don't want to spend that much. So I don't know what they're doing. The poll ads have been invisible, and Falvey, whatever. We don't know what Falvey, what are Falvey's new duties, and it's a pretty quiet organization right now. I mean, Rocco's basically stuck with trying to explain everything the way it looks to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, before we go, sell me a car. Tell me the best place to get a car these
Oh
days.
man, perfect weather right now. Get out there and you're gonna you're gonna be spending a lot of time in your cars, ladies and gentlemen, if you live here in the Twin Cities. So you want to get a nice, comfy, roomy car when you're sitting in that traffic, right? And maybe the up to date technology that'll tell you how to go someplace else to go in from another direction. We have the Buick SUVs out at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. Tremendous variety of those, tremendous inventory right now. They're that's what you should be looking at out there. The Invista, man, that's a great machine. And if you watch those sports, you've seen a lot of these SUVs in the Buick ads. But go out there; they have great financial people there. Will make it happen for you. Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Buick SUVs are the thing we're looking for here, and Apple Valley. Get out there in Apple Valley. You go right down Cedar Avenue. It's on the right side. Easy to get to. Still easy to get to, even if you get stuck in the wrong traffic. So that's right now is a good time to be getting that. The summer is almost over, but get something new to buy. Take to the lake. That'll be fantastic.
All right. Talk to you on Wednesday, Patrick.
All righty. See you, Judd.
See ya.